Trivium's got a new single, Bury Me With My Screams. Let's get into it.
In a nutshell, I would say that it is the most thrashy song Trivium has done in a very, 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 very long time. I have been with them since Ascendancy, way back in, what was the year?
2005.
Okay. Before you comment below, Derek is not saying he was a part of the band. He was saying that he was merely a fan of the band. Thank you for all the fish. Carry on.
They got me with that album. The record that I really, really, really like is The Crusade. I think it's a badass thrash record. Clean vocals on The Crusade. Amazing, amazing record. Soup to nuts. And then after that, Trivium kind of lost me a little bit. I think Matt Heafy got explored, got away from the roots a little bit. And this record is an epic journey.
They've certainly gone through a few different phases and all that. And on one hand, I think that's awesome because I love that people are willing to explore. As a fan, sometimes, like you're saying, you know, it doesn't always scratch the itch that you want from any particular band. But this track is just like top tier Trivium to me. Soon as the track opens up, I thought, oh man, okay, this is what I want right here.
Yeah, it's guttural. You know, it's riffy, it's in your face, weird timing, odd timing patterns on some of the drum beats, which I know you probably made the hair on your nuts stand up. I've had a lot of comments on your nuts, by the way, from people in my circles. But, you know, in the end of the day, it's a little bit of a return to form. I think that's been a theme this year. A lot of bands that kind of disappeared for a while or explored different avenues are kind of getting back to their roots a little bit and hitting hard.
Yeah, it's a killer track. The guitar riffs in it are just, they're crusher, they're fast. I know Corey, the other guitar player and backing vocalist, he brings a lot of the death metal and real heavy influence into the band. So I think he and Matt working together are just, like I said, if this track is any indication, this is going to be a pretty crusher album. And Alex, the drummer, he's top tier. He's fantastic. And his drum parts on this are so good. They do fun stuff with time and slowing tempo down and picking it up. And Alex does some really trick stuff that makes some of those tempo changes sound even more confusing, even though I wouldn't call them confusing, but they're just intricate. They're really, really cool, really detailed.
And it's interesting, too, because we just talked about the Deftones recently, and they just put out the Milk of the Madonna. And, you know, it's for them, that's a return to form. Trivium's returning to form. Biohazard went back to their riffy roots. And it feels like, you know, as the world gets a little bit more strife, and that's a great band, by the way. Strife is amazing. But as there's a little more strife, there's weird, bad shit going on in the Middle East. It stands the reason that metal starts picking up on that strife and getting aggressive and aggressively talking about things in the world that are not necessarily right. And I think it's great. I think Trivium should be at the forefront of returning to form and, you know, beating people over the head and laying some blood splatter out there. And it's great to have them back.
Did you dive into the lyrical content on this at all?
A little bit, but I really I've listened to it in the car a lot. And I actually just went and saw a friend of mine, shout out to Linda. She was a friend of my mom's. She recently got run over by a car.
Oh God, that's right. This poor woman.
Yeah. And I went out to see her just now and I put it on repeat. And I didn't get into the lyrics, but I found myself doing this while I was driving. And I haven't done that with a Trivium record in a long time, so it's cool.
Yeah, I was introduced to Trivium through a friend of mine. Shout out John Schaefer with the fantastic Orlando-based band Traverser. They played a number of shows in Orlando. Trivium, for those who don't know, is an Orlando-based band, been around since the early 2000s. And this is 15 years ago now, going and seeing these Traverser shows while they were opening up for Trivium, who was definitely growing. They were huge regionally then. Now they're, you know, nationwide. They're killing it. You look at their stream counts on Spotify, you know, they've got tracks in the hundreds of millions, at least over 100 million, which is insane. So it was fun to know that I saw those guys when they were a little more local, a little more regional, and they were killing it then. They were a little more, a little more metalcore-y, not as many melodic, clean vocals in this one as some of the older stuff, a lot more of the really aggro vocals, which I love. I love the percussive, rhythmic aspect of his vocals. I think he does a great job with the guttural stuff. And of course, he's real solid, clean singer too.
Fantastic talent. He also is really good on Sirius XM's Liquid Metal. Some of his shows where he kind of dives into the depths of metal and gives the spotlight to some unknown bands. Highly recommend finding Matt Heafy on Sirius XM's Liquid Metal and following his show when it airs. Again, this is bad journalism, and we'll get into some of my bad journalism before we leave this podcast in a second, but he is very good. Go to SiriusXM.com, find out when he's on, and make a note to take a listen, because he does really pay attention, and the smallest bands in the world get a chance to shine on his show.
I think that's really cool too. Like when we have the opportunity to talk to musicians, I love asking what they're listening to, what the most recent piece of music they put on to listen to. It's fascinating. And so I love when guys like Heafy get to do those shows. That's what you're doing. You get an hour of whatever it is they're into. And that's cool. It's a fun way to peek inside somebody's head.
Absolutely. Real quick. So our last podcast, I talked about David Gilmour being a founding member of Pink Floyd. So I stand corrected. My apologies for being a terrible journalist.
I am sorry.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to say to all the trolls. And I apologize to those who really, really care about Pink Floyd, and for those who care about Syd Barrett, because that's an oversight on my part. So I apologize on that. Yeah.
We're certainly human. Our fact checker didn't catch it. It was terrible. Clearly we've got to start paying the fact checker.
Well, the bottom line is, for me, is back to that. It's like, for me, Pink Floyd started, and when you're 50 years into a life, I forgot about, the Piper record. I just don't listen to it. I don't even have it in my possession. I don't think to listen to it. I listen to everything Gilmour and on. And that's just my personal preference. So I actually had a mental block on that record, and I forgot that Syd Barrett, was the singer and guitar player on that record. I just didn't remember it, and I haven't thought about it probably since I was a teenager. To be honest.
Yeah. Well, it was like you said, it was an honest mistake. Stuff happens. And, you were kind enough to give that heartfelt apology to the commenters. So that was very sweet of you. Yeah. If you've got any other things you'd like to share with Derek, we'll post Derek's home address here at the end of the video.
That'll be great. I'd love to get the hate mail. Really, the thing is you told me about it. I haven't even looked at the comments because I just don't care. But I was like, you know what? I feel bad that anybody, if they were a fan of Syd Barrett, I owe them an apology.
Sure.
And for true Pink Floyd fans, I do owe them an apology for just missing that. But in the end of the day, the people that are just trying to get under my skin, it's not going to work.
It's funny. It's funny too, because we, doing this podcast and putting, at the risk of sounding corny or whatever, like putting yourself out there, and we do it. Millions of us do it all the time on social media platforms, Instagram, Faceplace, whatever. You put yourself out there and you really do open yourself up to be not a target, but people are going to say what they say. Mm-hmm. The whole shit talk reviews thing over the past few years has been sort of an interesting, journey through wading through the seas of social media, because I have largely always stayed away from it. I don't understand it. I don't know how to do it. This is the most social media I've ever done, and it has been a little eye-opening for me. Like I said, we're very fortunate. There's so few people who are interested in the stuff we're talking about. It's not like we have an audience of millions. We often have an audience of ones, and that's fine. That's fine, because we're not doing it for them. We started this because we love talking about music. So
it is interesting that we've consistently done this, and now we're starting to get comments. We joke that we've got three, folks,
but we get 3 listeners.
3 listeners, but we do get thousands of people watching our shorts, and and so we're starting to get those comments, and I, again, it doesn't bother me. The positive doesn't bother me, and the negative doesn't bother me. In the end of the day, I really care. There's about 10 people on this planet whose opinion matters to me, and you're one of them, John.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Just so you know, even though I really don't like you very much,
no,
your opinion matters.
No,
but the trolls is part of everything you do. Whether you get up in the morning and go to a real job, there's going to be people that like you at work, and there's people who don't like you, and it doesn't matter. And I think that one of the things that I love about metal is that it's honest and it's real. And what you learn is that, to be hardcore, to be whatever it is, to be a badass, you really don't give a shit. Lemmy didn't give a shit. Dio didn't give a shit. Ozzy didn't give a shit. They all didn't. They did not give a shit, but they let their creativity do the talking. And so for us, this is as creative as I can get. You're way more talented than I am musically and everything else. I'm just going to let my voice and whatever my thoughts are do the talking, and what it may. I don't really care what anybody else thinks, other than those 10 people that I care about.
Yeah. Well, it's to wrap it up, the social media sea is a dark, deep place. And you're going to encounter all kinds of people. And again, as we've said many times, we just do this for ourselves, for fun. And when you put it out there, you kick the door open for people who want to comment on it. And we could turn off the comments, but why?
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
And again, like you said, some of our shorts and everything are, getting a couple thousand views, which in the big picture is nothing. But as the YouTube channel has sort of grown a little bit, more eyes, the algorithm knows sort of what we do. And so they know who to give it to because of how the whole, behind the curtain business works with YouTube. So it's showing our ridiculous nonsense to more people, and that it's just the way the machine works. Again, we didn't do this to get thousands of views. We did it just because we do it, and we're idiots. So it's funny to see how people react to it. Some people are really cool. I mean, we've had some really fun interactions with commenters on YouTube here and there. And this is just one where that little bit of bad info got a lot of people riled up.
Well, I will say that, some of these folks have become friendly. Joe Nally, says like stuff on my own personal social media accounts. Yeah. Eric from Barbarians of California, we're working on getting them back on. Eric's cool. And so we've made some friends, I think, along the way. Loosely, have we hung out with them in person?
Yeah.
No, but at some point we will. And, so I think that doing this to do our little part to get a spotlight on really great bands, but also amazing people, makes it worth it. And trolls, you don't matter.
Bullies aren't cool, Derek.
Nobody likes a bully.
We need to put a little PSA in there.
Don't be a bully.
Unless it's to, attack somebody on Shit Talk Reviews, in which case we're kind of asking for it. But that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I haven't shit on you, but, your ears are getting bigger, which, what that says to me? You're getting old.
Yeah. You know what else comes with bigger ears?
Nose hairs?
No. Yes. Well, that's what we'll go with. All right. We'll leave the talk about pendulous organs for another day.
Sounds
good shit. Listen to the new Trivium single. It's great. And hopefully they come out with an album soon. See you later.